Hey, hoping everyone's having a great Friday. I am currently waiting on the mail to come in. B&H was kind enough to loan me some of the new M5 MacBooks and the iPad Pro 11-inch and 13-inch models, and I've been waiting for them to come in all day, and I don't know what the deal with FedEx is. Some days FedEx will come in really early in the morning, and then other days it's like 2 or even 5 p.m. So I don't know why that is. Might be different drivers, different routes, but I have been planning some content around the new M5 series of computers. We're going to be directly comparing it to the M4 MacBook Air, M4 MacBook Pro, also the M4 Pro MacBook Pro as well. So we've got the whole range of computers that I'm going to be testing stuff out. If you haven't seen my other videos where we've talked about the M4 MacBook Pro and the M4 MacBook Air, or just some of the other different comparisons, it's going to follow a pretty similar format to that. So if you have any tests that you want to see, or any shootouts where you want to see the different computers put against each other, let me know the kind of things that you want to see tested out. Those are the kind of things that I'm going to be testing out on my own and doing lots of data. I'm going to try and upload the full spreadsheet this time as well. That way you can see all the tests without having to watch the whole video, or if you want to go back and reference something later on, then you can do that too. So I think we did Blender tests, Final Cut Pro export tests. We put a bunch of tracks in Logic Pro to see how many it could handle, running a ton of MIDI tracks. I'm trying to remember all the other tests. There were some Photoshop tests, some Lightroom tests. I think that some people have been asking for some LLM testing as well. That's still an area I'm not super familiar with, and I need to get more familiar with it, but it just hasn't really been something that I've needed to mess with much so far, so I haven't messed with LLMs much yet, but I would love to. So if you got any LLM requests for the M5 MacBook Pro, let me know those as well. It's definitely a little interesting that they only put the M5 chip out for the MacBook Pro right now, so there's no M5 Pro chip yet, and there's no M5 Max. And this is what really frustrates me about Apple's release strategy, is they kind of segment it out. So you get like one new product or maybe two new products, and you don't get like the whole next generation all at once. So if you're a MacBook Air fan, then you just got to wait and figure out when they're going to finally put the new MacBook Air out, which who knows, it can take a while sometimes in between the releases. Or if you wanted to get the Max chip or the Pro chip, then you also have to wait on that too. So again, it's just the funny thing about how Apple works is that they don't put everything out all at the same time. So you kind of have to just make a decision. Are you going to get something right now, or are you going to wait till later and then get it at a different time? Or sometimes I see people will just buy the best computer for them right then, and then they'll sell it whenever the one that they really wanted came out. I bought the M4 Mac Mini, and I really wanted the M4 Max Studio, and that took, another 6 months or so after the M4 Mac Mini came out. So that definitely took a while to get that. And when I got the Mac Studio, I thought, oh, this is why I wanted it, because it is so much faster. It's got that M4 Max chip on it. It gets much better performance for the type of work that I do. But I could see someone who just needed a desktop computer to get them by during that time being like, hey, I just got to buy something. Like, I got to have some sort of machine to get me through for the time being. So yeah, that's my biggest gripe with Apple right now, is that they keep segmenting out the chip release dates and times when they're going to put them out. The iPad Pros are kind of intriguing to me as well. I've got the M4 iPad Pro. It's great. Love the screen on it. Love all the features that they put into it. But I can't figure out how to really take advantage of the massive power that it has. Like, it's way overkill for an iPad in my opinion, and I don't do any sort of video editing or creative work on an iPad. So if you have any suggestions on what I should be testing on the M5 iPad Pro and how I can compare that to the M4 iPad Pro, I would love that as well. I've also got the M3 iPad Air, and I'd love to compare those back and forth. A lot of times I just look at all the different features, the screen quality, the speaker quality, things like that, and help people know this is why you get the nicer model instead of the lower end model. But some people really care more about the performance than the features, but then for me as an iPad user, I care more about the features of an iPad than a performance test, as long as the iPad's not just a piece of junk and isn't something that crashes, which most of the new ones are fine. Even the A16 can handle the new software pretty well. So that could be kind of a funny video too, comparing the A16 iPad to the top of the line M5 iPad Pro. I've also got, this is something I don't normally get to do, but I'm really thankful for B&H that I get to do this. They sent me the 16 gigabyte RAM version, as well as the 24 gigabyte RAM version of the M5 MacBook Pro. So we're going to be able to do a little testing and see if the upgraded RAM really does that much for some of those processing and exporting like tasks on them as well. Hey Stein, good to see you again today. Appreciate you always tuning into these streams. I got to figure out how to make the text bigger so I can read it. Yeah, that'd be a good one to try. I think that's exactly the configuration I've got on. No, the M4 Pro starts out at 24 gigabytes of RAM. So I will do a M5 versus M4 Pro though. So that should hopefully answer some of those questions with those tests that I've done in the past as well. Yeah, and I keep turning looking behind my back because the window's over there. I'm watching to see if the mail guy shows up, the FedEx guy. Hopefully he gets here soon. The next thing I wanted to talk about is some networking issues I'm having. I have all UniFi stuff right now, and I really like it. Dream Machine, use their security system stuff. It's great. But I've got I think it's the AC6 Lite is over there that I use for everything in my office, and I've got a AC6 long range. And I just have been running into a lot of issues with stuff loading really slow whenever I'm using Wi-Fi. But it's weird because all the speed tests come back fine. So I'm really not sure what would be causing that to happen because everything is testing good. So it doesn't really make much sense. I'm trying to decide if I need to go for the AC7 long range and the AC7 Lite for my office and see if that makes any difference. It just doesn't seem like a Wi-Fi AP should be bad after, I think I've had these for like 3.5 years or so, and they've been feeling pretty slow, maybe since like August. I'm not completely sure though. So looking into some new networking stuff as well. I'm also looking into the UNAS Pro, the UNAS 8 right now, because I've just got so many SSDs with all my footage on them. And I've talked to some people in the past about editing off of a NAS, editing off of hard disks in a NAS and RAID array. And I've got a lot of mixed results on that from people. Some people say it's great, other people say it takes a really long time. And then I see how slow the transfer speeds are whenever you want to import or move files actually onto the NAS, and it takes forever. But I think a lot of people just end up using proxies to do the editing. So I'm really more interested in using the NAS as a way to offload everything, just something to keep it on for the long haul. And this is something that I feel like there's not a lot of people on YouTube who are talking about if a NAS can actually save you money over buying a bunch of SSDs, or if the speed of it is just not worth it. Because a lot of people who are running hard disks are running them straight into a computer, and then they're editing just off of one that's actually mounted directly to the computer. And then I have had issues in the past with doing that, like those old Lacy drives or the WD Passport drives that they had. Yeah, those seem to just spin and run really slow on the computer. So I think that's why I'm really hesitant to get a NAS, because in my head I'm thinking of editing on the 150 megabyte a second speed hard disks, and that doesn't seem like something that would be fun. Or whenever your project is like 100 gigabytes, that would take quite a while to actually transfer everything. And I end up putting everything onto libraries with all my clips so that in the future I can go back and find all the clips, reference them again, and reuse them. And I think that I really like to be able to just find them really quick, which right now I have to go through my SSD to find, like, oh, this is the one that has all the different Thunderbolt docks that I've reviewed on it. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking the NAS would be a good idea, but I'm also still just unsure if it's actually worth the investment of it. I've got some other stuff that I need to unbox here in a second. Some other tech I've been checking out. I have been revamping my office a little bit too, so I've got everything running through an ATEM Mini Pro now. We'll see if this works. Yeah, there we go. We got the overhead shot. I got the Osmo Nano actually when it came out, and what was cool is I ended up seeing this on Amazon for same-day delivery when they announced it. I'd kind of been watching for it. This thing is so cool. It's very tiny, but it's got this little dock thing for it, so you can actually like see yourself on the screen, and you can like point it at different things, which is kind of cool. You can shoot vertical, or you can turn it to the side. It'll automatically change it to horizontal, and it has like a magnetic lanyard mount too. If you want, you can also just use it like this and have it kind of in GoPro mode. If you want to do it in selfie mode, you can flip the screen around, have it like that. There's the camera above. camera inception. But this thing has been cool. I think what I'm always disappointed in with GoPros is I have really big expectations for the video quality out of them, and then half the time I just think my iPhone can shoot better video than this. Like, I just wish I had a bunch of iPhones to shoot video on instead of using GoPros. But there's a lot that really comes in handy with having action cameras or real cameras, because you can use them in a dedicated environment. You don't have to worry about someone calling you, the screen dimming, or just, you know, all the phone things that can be really annoying with using a phone for footage. So yeah, Osmo Nano, it's been kind of cool. I haven't used it on the channel. No, I did do a short with this. I think I shot a POV video with it that was kind of cool. And Satechi sent this thing over, I think a couple months ago. I haven't got to open it yet, but I know the new Apple lanyard things are kind of all the rage right now. And it's funny because they put this out a little bit before Apple released that lanyard. But it's actually a lanyard USB-C charger. So, oh wow, this is kind of beefy. Let's take a look at it. So I think the idea behind this is that you can have this lanyard always ready to go. Yeah, so you got like one clip, and depending on the type of phone case you have, you can attach this onto your phone case. And then it's got these guards on the end of it. Oh yeah, that's cool. So that kind of comes off but stays there too. So you've got a lanyard, and you've also got a USB-C charger that's always ready to go with you. So that's a really interesting concept. I'm not sure if I personally would use this, but I could see this really coming in handy for people who are on the go a lot. It would also be really funny to try this as a camera strap and just see if it works or not, or if it's just annoying. I think the thing that's a little different from the Apple one is this has a single loop, and I think maybe the Apple one has dual loops, but I think Satechi was actually kind of doing some advertising for this after Apple just launched their new neck strap thing. Here's another piece of tech that I haven't got to set up yet. It's one of Anker's new charging docking stations. And Anker's been putting some interesting stuff out recently. Anker sent me this. This is interesting because it's not a Thunderbolt dock, it's a USB dock, which means that the speed on it can get bottlenecked a lot faster than if you're using a Thunderbolt dock. So yeah, it's got the computer port on the back, and there's no other USB-C ports on the back, but you've got one that they say used for your like keyboard and mouse dongle, 2.5 gig Ethernet. I'm glad they put this removable cable on. The last one didn't have the removable cable, which I thought was a big mistake for them not to have that on the last one. 2 HDMIs, DisplayPort, which will also be interesting to see if this one is better than the last one. Really, a lot of the Anker docks they put out have had some issues because they can only run one display at a time unless it's the same display mirrored, which I don't know many people who actually use their setup that way. Like, if you're going to have two monitors like I've got back there, 9 times out of 10 you're not putting the same thing on both of them unless you're using one as a confidence monitor. So yeah, no USB-C on the back, 2.5 gig Ethernet, so that's cool. And then you got your charging /10 and 5 gig ports on the front. It's got the display on it, headphone jack, SD card. Yeah, so this is like their prime charging station, kind of mixed in with their last USB dock. Yeah, the new Thunderbolt version's not bad. I tested it for a while and it got the job done for me. I just felt like it was a little overpriced for what it is. I think they probably should have made it a little bit cheaper because it had a couple limitations. Like, I think some of the ports were a little slow on it for whatever reason. Like, the SD card slots were slow SD card slots, and it maybe had some sort of video output issue. I can't remember. It's all in the video I did on it though. Yeah, this will be interesting to take a look at. It just won't work super well with my setup because I use Thunderbolt displays for most things. But I also I've got some other displays B&H sent me too that I'm really excited to talk about those. We might talk about those in a second. Here's another thing we could unbox. I got this a couple months ago and just haven't gotten around it. It's a dual drive enclosure from a Casus that they sent me. I'm not really sure the speeds of this. Casus makes a lot of different products, and I kind of think they could maybe make a few less. Like, they don't need to have as many as they do. Or when they come out with something new, they should like discontinue the old version of it because their naming schemes get really confusing. see what this is. I love when stuff comes in a giant box and it's so tiny. Okay, so power delivery in. So I'm guessing this actually, yeah, this must give power to your computer as well. There's the little Osmo Nano shutting itself off. Toolless design like that. So you can put 2 SSDs in on this. This one will be interesting to test. I don't know if you have to use it in RAID mode to get the faster speeds, kind of like their Mac Mini dock, or if this is going to give you the faster speeds even if you use them as JBOD or just a bunch of disks. It's got the fan switch on it. Oh, this is why the box is so big. Thunderbolt cable, Thunderbolt 4, and a USB power adapter. Wow, they actually give you a pretty big power adapter. And a couple of thermal pads as well. How many watts is this? 100-watt power adapter. Man, I'm curious how much power it'll actually pass through to the computer as well. Yeah, this will be interesting to test out. And I think this one also, yeah, it has another port you can daisy chain something to as well. So that's kind of interesting. That could come in handy. I wonder if you could use this like, no, it's Thunderbolt 4, so it wouldn't work as well for that. I was going to say I wondered if you could use this between your computer and your display. Oh, in HDMI 4K 60. Some of the monitors I've got will support HDMI finally, which people ask me a lot about HDMI monitors, and I don't typically use HDMI for them. The only other dual SSD enclosure I've done is the, I'll get it out real quick. It's the one that the case is put out for the Mac Mini. This one. I don't have my Mac Mini in it right now. My Mac Mini's running a 3D printer right now, so I didn't need this to run the 3D printer with it. But this is cool. It's got a screw on the side, and you open this up and you can put the dual NVMEs in on it. And this one you did have to use both of them if you wanted to get the faster speeds. So that was the downside to this, but it worked really well. It looks really cool with the Mac Mini in it as well. But yeah, I haven't had any other small SSD enclosures that do it, but I'll be interested in checking this one out. And actually, I forgot that it was a dual one, and I only got one SSD out to go with it. But I'll have to do some tests of this one soon. I'm just intrigued by it, but a lot of times these companies, they want you to use 2 of the same SSD, and all my NVMEs are different. So I really need to get a matched NVMe to go with one of the ones that I have for the tests that I've been doing. Also today, I almost got this video finished. I got it finished up, and then I decided to do a quick live stream. But Newfie sent me this a couple months ago. I was catching back up on it. I get so many keyboards and mouses that it takes a while to get them all tested. But this one is the Halo 65 V2, and this is the first 65 that I've had, which was kind of interesting. There's a couple things about it I didn't like, and I'm probably not going to hit the buttons on it because I have this connected to a computer back there, and I've got this connected to a different computer. So this is the Air 75 V3. I really like this one. This one's awesome. It's just nice and compact. You can fold the feet down. Sits at such a low angle. But the Halo, they added dampening to the spacebar, which is really cool. The keycaps are a little bit bigger, and that seems to make it feel more comfortable. But they added these silent switches that you can get on it, and I didn't get to try the silent switches out until the middle of the video. But that's a mechanical keyboard, and it's quieter than the Apple Magic keyboard or like using your laptop keyboard. So if you compare that to, here's the Air. That one's got the brown switches on it, I think. So these are, I think they call them the blush switches. And here's the raspberry switches on it. I have that on the numbers. So it's just crazy how quiet they were able to make those switches. I need to see if there's quieter switches for the Air, because the Air is another really great keyboard. But there's a couple things about the the halo that were getting on my nerves. Namely, like if you look at these, there's no option button down here, and you got control. I mean, I guess control is on the other Newfie one. And you have to use function if you want to use any of the top, which that's just 65 keyboards for you. But other than that, it felt really good. I guess the backspace is also a little bit, yeah, it's in the same spot. This one feels really good though. It's a really great keyboard. I just don't think I'm actually a 65 key kind of guy, and I think that's why I like the Air better, but I should probably try the Halo 65 V2 at some point as well. This one's really thick too. It's not really meant for travel, which most people don't take their keyboard on the road with them, but I know some people do. You can see the LEDs on the side of it as well, and you can like change all the different colors and effects on it. Some of these are pretty crazy though. Like, I don't know who actually leaves their keyboard on some of these settings, but I guess someone does, or else they wouldn't build that effect into it. Still no sign of the mail guy to get the M5 stuff yet, unfortunately. Another thing that B&H sent to me, they've sent me a couple displays that I asked them if I could try out. I got to send them back, unfortunately, but one of them was, it's over there. It's the Asus ProArt 32-inch. I can't remember if that one is 5K or 6K. But some of these, it's like the one that's supposed to be, you know, Apple Studio display level quality. PA32 QCV. I've just used the Apple Studio display for a while now. Yeah, so it's 6K, 32-inch. So basically it's on the same level as the, man, what is that other one called? Not the Studio display, but the really expensive Apple one. It's like $5,000, and I never could justify spending that on a monitor. Maybe someday. But I'm really excited to try this out because 6K, 32-inch. I like the dual monitor setup, but there's a lot of times that I would like to have both of them side by side. ProArt 27-inch. I've heard great things about Asus. I haven't used any of their monitors in recent years. I've used some of their old like 1080 ones a long time ago. But that one's going to be cool to try. And then LG also put a 6K display out too. It's the ultrafine 32U990A. It still is not shipping yet, so I'm waiting for that one to ship out. That one is also a 6K display, HDR. And they kind of made the design of it to look like a studio display, but it's got way more ports on the back of it, so that'll be cool to be able to test those. Yes, Pro Display XDR, that's what it's called. Pro Display 5000 is what it should be called. But yeah, this one, the LG Ultrafine, is the one I'm interested in because it looks like a studio display, but at 32 inches in size, which will be nice to have that. And then I'm still using an old LG 5K. That's what I've got on my other computer over here. And that one's, it's still holding up fine. It's got a lot of burn-in around the edge, but the main reason I switched from that to the studio display wasn't really because of the quality, but just because I've used that screen for like 7 years, and it was just time for it to be done. But yeah, other than that, just planning on doing some more streams. Do you guys like this setup better than the desk setup? I'm gonna do like a little behind the scenes. I'm trying to get everything set up where I can run a stream faster. I've got another camera over there that I usually use in my videos, but I didn't have a long enough HDMI cable to plug it into the switcher yet, so that's gonna get plugged into the switcher at some point. Can control it all from over here. Probably set up a couple stream decks at some point where I can do more things with them. And I really want to try the new Elgato prompter. That thing looks really cool. It's like 15-inch display instead of the smaller one. Yeah, and the new studio display next year, I thought about getting another studio display. The vertical monitor's cool. I've also wanted to try dual studio displays. But I held off on getting a second one because I already had one. And I thought I don't need to go get a new one when they're probably going to put a new one out next year. Yeah, and I think you can get screen burn-in on pretty much any display if you don't set it to go to screensaver mode often enough. And I want to say with my LG one, I use that one a lot, and I didn't use full screen windows a lot, so there was just like the background on the edges of it a lot of times, and I kind of feel like that maybe led to some of the burn-in on it as well. I'm not completely sure. It's probably age. I might have even bought that one refurbished, so there's really no telling how much use that my old LG one has used. File management was another thing we were going to talk about today, but I think we kind of talked about that already too. I'm wanting to do some behind the scenes videos, show off the space a little better too. I'm looking at making a big wall over here. It's going to have like all these keyboards hanging on it, which I think could be kind of cool to show like all the different ones we've checked out in the past. Maybe look kind of neat. Thinking about, what other things have I been thinking about? I might move my guitar wall and lower the guitars a little bit. I put them up high so they didn't get whacked as easily, but they always look just a little too high in the frame of the shots to me. So I'm kind of thinking about changing that up. Still no sign of the mail, but I think I got to get a little bit more video editing done today. Get a couple things uploaded. There's still, let me check how many videos I've got in the queue. Usually I try to keep like 2 or 3 weeks worth of videos uploaded but not scheduled. I do like 3 a week. But right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got like 7 or 8 waiting to go. So I'm probably going to have a video a day for like the next 5 days or something. An NVMe dock, like the opposite of an enclosure. No, I haven't tried one of those. I know some people will use those and they'll swap them out. So you can just, buy a bunch of these NVMEs instead of buying like the SanDisk Pro blades. But that's always made me a little bit nervous to not have something in an actual enclosure. And I feel like there's probably a reason that most of the time you see these used inside of a motherboard or in an enclosure. But I think a lot of times when people use those, they're really recommending them just for copying stuff over, or if you're setting up a new machine or something, you can like plug it into that docking station and then copy the old one and then, move on that way. I guess that's probably more the PC world than the Mac world, but no, I haven't tested those. I have seen them though. I think some people have asked me to review them, but I have a hard time recommending those too, just because I'm afraid that people would mess them up and then get mad. Yeah, Alex, I got your email. Sorry I didn't get to respond to it yet, but I saw it the other day and I wanted to make sure I had a minute to send a good response to it. But the setup looks good. It looks like a great start. I also like that you got the Logic certification as well. I still need to do that at some point. I really need to get Dante certified at some point as well. Well, guys, I'm going to sign off for today, but thanks for tuning in. We're going to do a lot more streams. Send me a message if you got any other topics you want to talk about in the future, and I'll probably post